Fuel Sports Network.
It's a trap!
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
This is the Team of Rivals podcast.
Everything you want to hear from the big sports to the big screen.
He's all by himself, fires into the end zone. Touch! Touchdown! No! Braun into the windup and his first offering. Just a bit outside. He tried to corner this.
He doesn't like you. I don't like you either.
Time winding down, Mike over three. Yes! She is gone!
I don't believe what I just saw.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! You believe in miracles? Yes!
Number 5 when ready.
What?
Good evening, Cubs and Cardinals fans. It's Tuesday, January 28th, and this is the Team of Rivals podcast. You can follow us on social media at Team of Rivals Pod. And for those of you who prefer to watch the show, we also live stream on X, YouTube, Facebook, and Rumble, although I don't think we're streaming on Facebook right now because I forgot to set up that part of the stream. I'll take care of that while my two co-hosts ramble on. There he is, permanent guest host, Elliott Dewey. Co-founder TOR number 171 in the 2024 edition of C70 Stop Cards on Twitter, Ron Nuttall. Ron, you admitted you haven't watched a lick of baseball. You have the floor.
No. Well, I don't want the floor already. God damn it. We really need to have our show meetings like we used to. Just kidding. We never did. No, I really didn't want the floor right now, but I'll go ahead and take it for a little bit. No, I haven't paid attention to anything because the interest level on my part has just been non-existent. I know that the winter warm-up, which, to be honest with everybody here, going back 20 years, I never cared about the winter warm-up. I never got hyped up about that. I didn't need the winter warm-up. I just needed to know that there was something exciting going into the year, and there's not. So winter warm-up was extra special, irrelevant to me this year, and I think it was to a lot of Cardinals fans. It was a much lighter crowd than it usually is, reminiscent to most of the seats at Busch Stadium come August. That's basically what winter warm-up was. The fans that did show had pointed questions, I think, at Cardinals brass, and deservedly so. And, you know, guys, I don't even have to go over the responses. It's what we've already heard. It's really no different. We really got no new information. They haven't done anything, and they haven't done anything. I don't think they're going to do anything. But yet they won't declare a lane that they're in either. So they've declared a reset, but they haven't really been in whatever position that you would feel like they're actually in a reset. And so it's just a really, I don't even say strange, because that's what sport writers do when they go on a podcast first time. They say everything's fascinating and everything's interesting. None of this shit's fascinating. None of it's interesting. It's all boring. It's all boring. All of it is. And so what do you want to talk about next? That's my floor time. That's my floor time, and I don't even want any more on the subject.
Elliott, I suspect that you don't feel exactly the same about the Cubs. I mean, they have been doing things.
Yeah. They went out and got their closer. So who is going to be, you know, at least for the first part of the year, he'll be the closer. And, you know, unless he starts showing his age and gives it up and we go back to Porter Hodge. But, you know, then they got their utility guy, Birdie, correct?
Yeah.
He was officially signed today. So made a couple of small moves to clear the 40-man roster and lost a couple of guys who were probably fringe. They'll sign on with the team. I mean, hell, everybody's broke, but guess what? 2024 was a huge revenue season for MLB baseball. Best they ever had. We're just trying to break even, though.
So I'm glad you mentioned that, Elliott, because I just want to make sure that I understand this now. It's not okay for the Cubs to make money. Correct? It's not okay for the Ricketts family and the other owners of the Cubs to make money. Not allowed. That's bad. According to Cubs fans,
Just
that's
trying to
bad.
break even.
Right.
No. Based on the reaction, also not okay for the Cubs to just break even. That's bad. So Cubs don't make money. Cubs don't break even. Apparently the only acceptable outcome for the Chicago Cubs, according to fans,
is to make money.
Must lose money.
Oh, lose money.
Am I reading that correctly?
Yes.
Okay, that's all.
What it sounds
Understand, Cubs fans, this is the corner you have painted yourselves into. The only acceptable outcome is that your team must lose money. That is not the formula to win a World Series, you idiots. And I include you in this one, Elliott. Right now, I am including you in this.
Well,
okay.
No,
you cannot put together a winning program if your organization is losing money. And according to you and other Cubs fans, the only acceptable outcome is to lose money.
Whoa. When did I complain about this? Yeah. I just said that this is what I read.
I think, and I also think this is a thing in social media in general, right? Like if Jeff Bezos' name ever comes up in a conversation, you hear X, and this is my audible interpretation of X whenever anybody says anything on X. Here's the rest of the crowd. Right? Anybody who's an entrepreneur makes money on a business because they put a product out that's better than their competitors and they happen to make a profit off that are icky and evil, all of it. And so I think that's just that's a generational thing, right? Like that's
actually, I think that's a great point, Ron, right? Because there was universal love for Amazon when all they were doing was posting losses, but providing us stuff.
It's the music snob mentality, man. I love that band. I love their music until it hits the radio.
Yep.
And it has a commercial in front of it. Fuck it. Now it's mainstream, you sellouts. And that's the whole, it has something to do with that, Pete. It's not exactly the same, but it's a parallel to that way of thinking. If an owner of a business chooses to want to break even or make a profit off of the business they chose to own, evil motherfuckers.
I don't think we can put that as the title.
No,
I want to put it as the title break even.
YouTube might strike us.
Oh, break even. Oh, that's a good one.
Or breaking even, like break dancing, breaking even.
Ooh,
breaking even.
Breaking. So IN apostrophe.
Yeah. Breaking even.
Breaking even. Love it.
At best, right? Like, I did see that quote that Ricketts had. I thought that was pretty funny. I'll come to that later. I got a soundbite that my neighbor sent me. I thought was pretty good. I don't know if you guys have heard it or not, but I'll come to it later. Pete or Elliott, one of you two remind me to bring this up later. It has nothing to do with baseball right now, so I'll pause on it until we get to another topic.
Okay.
But yeah,
that's
baseball, we might be run a little, at least from the Cardinals side of things tonight. I might be run a little bit thin on the tank here.
Seriously, it's got it. Obviously, haven't listened to them, but it's got to be tough for all of the Cardinals fan blogs and other podcasts.
Yeah, because there's nothing to talk
about. What's there to talk about? They've done nothing. It's not even that they've done anything outrageous. Like they've literally done nothing. They've just been there.
They put it under this guise of a reset, and they still really haven't defined what that means. At least not. Okay, if you're an insider, I'm not talking to you guys that are at all press conferences and you guys have access. I'm not talking about you guys. I'm talking about people like me who are sitting on the outside of this. Like this term reset. And I'm sorry, guys. I have a day job and I have kids, and I'm not going to read all your fucking articles all day long to figure out what it means. Okay? So get your attitude, but that's what you do for a living, and you get to spend all day doing it, and I don't. So I don't know. whoever you writers are out there for the Dispatch or everybody else, like I can't focus on this shit all day long. So I don't have the answer. But for me as a fan, I always kind of understood where the Cardinals stood and what their strategy was. And right now, I don't know, because I don't know how this reset is defined. And so, but the difference of not understanding what the Cardinals are doing right now in 2025 versus like 2015, I would have been livid and pissed, but interested. Now, I'm not really even livid or pissed. I really don't care. I don't care as much as I used to. And so I'm not even interested enough to go read your articles or to listen to your podcast that you've encroached on our space. We were novices and this was our space. Now you're all in it. I'm just not interested enough in the topic to read up on it. It's not even about laziness. I mean, I work my Monday through Friday and sometimes at nights, like all you guys. But I have a different job, and I have kids to raise and baseball to coach here pretty soon. So I don't have much time to dig into it as you snobs do. So
my takeaway.
Tell me what reset has been defined as and what it looks like, because I've never heard that before in a sport. Maybe I've missed it. It's likely I've missed another organization calling it a reset and then it actually being a reset, but I don't know what the hell it means. They haven't bothered to really define it. And I'm still hearing John Mozeliak hog the mic at a winter warmup where nobody wants to hear him talk anymore. Nobody's interested in hearing him talk. They want to hear from Chaim Bloom, the new guy. Like, and we get a full dose of John Mozeliak and Ollie. Like, nobody wants to hear from any of those guys. So it's no shit that your winter warmup had low attendance, just like your attendance all year. Even though they bought tickets, they chose not to go. So you just want to talk about losing money. The Cardinals fans didn't even break even in 2024. They lost money because they didn't even bother going to Busch Stadium after they bought tickets. But you don't hear them talk about that either, guys. I mean, in fact, the winter warm-up, because the weather was so cold in St. Louis, it drove the attendance down. That's what you'll hear from them.
That's why they were allowing.
And winter warm-ups have been packed in years prior when weather's been much shittier. But that's not it. That's not the issue.
Well, that's why they were allowing people to just come on down for free, right? At the talks was because of the cold.
Man, even if I lived, even if I
free
still
attendance would encourage people to come out of the cold.
Even if I still lived in the area, they'd have to fucking pay me to go to that thing this year.
I mean, my impression, just based on what I read, the three, I guess, big stories out of winter warm-up were they're just waiting until they can clear Nolan Arenado out.
Right.
And then they'll make their moves.
They're not gonna make
interesting choice.
What moves are they gonna make when there's nobody for them to go after? I mean,
it's like,
well, I mean,
the fucking Dodgers just made another move and signed Kirby Yates. I mean, it's ridiculous how many people that they've gone after this year.
Elliott, you don't understand. This is like Charlie. Okay, I never watched Always Sunny, but we all know the gif. It's like Charlie, and that's Mozeliak right now. He's got the board behind him and all the red strings, and it all rotates around Nolan Arenado.
Mm-hmm.
Because once they trade Nolan Arenado, then all this stuff is going to happen. World Series. Don't ask what happens in the middle there. Just
they control that part. It's not like they're waiting on anybody.
Well, but they can't tell you. They can't tell anyone because that would ruin it. Everybody would then know what their moves were going to be. My impression coming out of winter warm-up is the three major stories. They got to trade Nolan Arenado. Wilson Contreras is excited to be a first baseman. And this year, this year
you find there as a catcher.
That's right. This year is the breakout year for Jordan Walker. This year it's going to happen.
And Nolan Gorman.
But especially Jordan Walker. Just ask Jim Bowden. Right. For the third year in a row, he's tabbed Jordan Walker as one of his breakout stars for 2024.
I guess when you throw your money down on the same color, same number enough times, it like should hit, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that's how it works, but we'll see.
They don't know that. Yeah. So whatever. It's we do this podcast, so I have to talk about baseball at all. I don't want to. I don't want to. Just forced to actually. I was forced to go on MLB trade rumors and just scan the headlines. And I'm like, I don't even give a shit. I didn't even click on my team to see if there's any mutterings or mumblings or anything like that. Didn't do that either. To my surprise, like the first 5 headlines weren't about the Dodgers, but I think everything was covered over the last week, and we don't have to talk about that anymore. They can't possibly be doing any more. I don't know. I think they're still 1 second baseman away from World Series contention.
That's all.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah,
I think you're right. I think they're really close.
They're really close. They're right there.
Really.
I think they have a good shot at the West.
Yes.
You think they break the record for wins this year?
Man, I guess they could. Yeah.
The Cardinals, 100%.
This is not even reverse psychology where I think, I'm going to talk down on this so much that there's nothing but ups. I'm trying to create, like most people say, well, Ron, you're just trying to create nothing but upside. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Go on strike. I don't care. I don't.
2 years.
I love that. No. I don't know. I don't know if I actually want to share this video or just refer to it. No, I'm just going to refer to it. I'm not going to share it. I don't want to watch him. I love that Ken Rosenthal, in his illustrious opinion, said that a work stoppage over a salary cap would be the dumbest thing baseball could do. Really, Ken? Really? That's the dumbest thing. Okay, Ken. You used to respect your work, but the slobberfest that baseball media has performed this offseason, they really should consider getting an OnlyFans because they could kill it.
Everybody
the way that they, I mean,
Pete,
there's money to be made.
You're in education. It had to cross your mind before. Like I could do this instead, right? You had to think about it. Okay, you don't have to say yes.
Nobody wants to see this.
You never know.
Part of this.
You never know. You got your niche out there. Everybody's done.
You've got some good looking feet there, Pete. Come on.
A bowl of Doritos and crunch them up. I mean, people pay top dollar for that stuff. Wow, I lost my train of thought over thinking about Pete's feet and a bowl of Doritos.
Maybe that's the title: Pete's feet and a bowl of Doritos.
Oh God, we got prospective first listeners that are like, oh, somebody retweeted us last week or a week ago, said, hey, it's a pretty good show. I don't want that to be a show title. If somebody's out for the first time.
Hey, we must be doing something right because right now, got 4 watchers on Rumble. So.
Yeah.
Well, we've had more if we put us up on Facebook, but
I know
you feel like doing.
We started the stream, so now I can't connect it to Facebook. So we'll just have to post a video later.
That was the ills of Wirecast as well. If you didn't do it right away, you weren't doing it. It was just there was no option.
All right, so let's talk about this. We can talk about baseball that we enjoy. How's that?
What part?
Ichiro going to the Hall of Fame.
I do love that. I don't care that. Look, I knew he was going to get in. I mean, we all knew he was going to get in, right? And it's good to see that too. He was one of those. I know that people. I've been all over Shohei's ass since he showed up to the league. That was more how the league treated it and the way they've done things, not so much the player. Right. But Ichiro wasn't given any of that as he started. Right, he earned every bit of accolade.
Yeah, there were questions of what kind of an impact he would have because he had a reputation as just being a slap hitter.
He was the first. I mean, you had Hideo Nomo first to break in like from the pitching arm. I think who was the who's the guy who followed him that went to the Yankees? I can't remember. Another pitcher, Hideo Nomo. No, wait, that was Hideo Nomo for the Dodgers. Who's the guy that went to the Yankees? I can't remember his name. Hideki? No, that was Matsui.
Yeah, but he was a hitter.
He was a hitter, but I can't remember the pitcher. Anyways, a pitcher that followed up Nomo a few years later, and then there was Chanho Park from Korea. But really, I think Ichiro was really the first position player, I think, that really broke out in Major League Baseball that was from Japan. You're looking up the name. That's why you're not responding. Let me know who it is. It's like on the tip of my tongue, and I'll get it wrong. But there's nothing to dislike about Ichiro. He batted weird. Looked like he was already running down the first base line when he made contact. But man, it was so effective. But that guy could pop home runs when he felt like it. I felt like, right? So he was just an all-around great player. He had an absolute cannon and a missile for an arm.
Oh my God, yeah.
I mean, just a ridiculous for his size. I mean,
yeah,
just throw like shit out of Star Wars into the infield, right? It was nuts. So
all right, so technically, the first player to play, first Japanese player to play in Major League Baseball was Masanori Murakami. Played 54 games for the San Francisco Giants, and then nobody played again for 30 years until the aforementioned Hideo Nomo made his debut in 1995. I'm going to guess that you weren't referring to Mac Suzuki, Shigetoshi Hasegawa, Takashi Kashiwada. I know you weren't referring to him, but I'm surprised that you forgot. Well, maybe you were. Hideki Irabu?
Irabu, that's the one I was thinking about.
Not with the Yankees. Oh, yeah. With the Yankees, yeah. 3 seasons with the Yankees, then the Expos, and the Rangers.
Signed and started with the Yankees. Yep.
But yeah, I mean, if you look at this, it's actually interesting to look at this list. Not a lot. I mean, there are a couple of notables, but then you got Masato Yoshi, Masao Kida, Tomokazu Oka, Kazuhiro Sasaki, and then finally the first position player, Ichiro.
Right. Yeah. And the Cardinals had, I think, okay, you're right. So there was one 30 years earlier, but I didn't know that. I think,
and he was a pitcher.
And Ichiro was the first breakout position player by far, right? I mean, that's, so, but I didn't get to watch him much because he played in Seattle. So it was West Coast, and most of the time he was with the American League, but he was still a fun player to watch. He was just occupied the highlight reel, on ESPN back in the day. So good to see him get back in. And yes, we all knew there would be one idiot that wouldn't put him on the ballot.
They need transparency on that. They need to release their ballots, not because they have to justify it, right? He doesn't have whoever it was doesn't have to report it, but they really should show the ballots so that we know.
Like in Congress.
Yeah.
Who voted yes and no.
Yeah. It's a roll call vote. That's all.
I mean,
you have a privilege. You're one of a couple hundred people who have the privilege to be able to vote on the Hall of Fame.
I don't know what percentage of the writers do show their. Several do. They'll take a picture of it and put it up on, post it. But I mean, there's
more and more are now. I think the vast majority do.
Yeah.
Elliott, we can't hear you. There we go. Could tell that you wanted to say something, but
he really did. He was like,
I'm really thinking that whoever the writer is, he's probably from fucking New York.
Yeah, probably. My
he's an ass hat.
Yeah. The favorite thing that I saw that came up as Ichiro, as the news came out, and this one I saw on Major League Baseball Network, but anyone could have seen it on their X feed. Ichiro singled to begin the third MLB game of his career in 2001. Raising his average to 300. He was 3 of 10 in his first 10 at-bats in Major League Baseball. His batting average never dipped below 300 again. Ever.
It's so ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
Ever. In a career that long, his career batting average never
started off the season like 1 for 10.
He may have, but his career batting average never dropped below 300.
God, yeah. I mean, but don't talk about batting average, these guys.
No, batting average is a meaningless statistic. Yeah. It's too much variation. It doesn't mean anything at all.
Good for him. And who else got in? Billy Wagner.
Billy Wagner.
I don't know how I feel about that. He was really good when he was the thing in Houston. He was pretty much lights out. I mean, left-handed guy that wasn't like overwhelmingly big or tall or anything, but man, he had a power arm. And there was one more.
Yeah, who's the third one, Elliott? I'm blanking.
Told you I haven't paid attention to shit.
Yeah, I'm just blanking.
Oh, was it Biggio?
No.
Not Biggio.
We started off as a baseball show, people.
We did.
We started off. We would have known this 8 years ago.
Oh, well, Dick Allen, right? CC Sabathia.
Oh,
CC,
Sabathia.
that's right.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I did see that too. I did. Yeah, that one escaped me. That's not a surprise. You probably say Wagner was the one I wasn't sure if he was going to get in or not, but I mean, he was dominant in his day.
What do you need? 75%?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Carlos Beltrán was real close at 70.3.
So we are going to put cheaters in the Hall of Fame.
I think that's what kept him out up to this point.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
Yep. So we'll see. It'll either go up. It depends on who's eligible next year. He might eke over it if there's not a lot to vote for. If there's a couple guys that are worthy, it'll probably suppress him. But who knows?
Let's see who will be eligible next year. Not NFL, you moron. Oh,
not looking real hot for A-Rod.
Oh, and yeah, he'll be gone. Next year.
What was A-Rod's vote total this year? What
37.1%. Yeah, this is his fourth year on there.
All right, so
Jones is 66.2.
How many years did they drop? Like 10? Like they fall below like a certain percentage. I know they
yeah, I think it's 10%.
Yeah.
All right, so here you go. Next year, potential eligibles, and I'm gonna do some editing so that we don't have to go through all of them. But I'm gonna give you the most likely: Cole Hamels, Ryan Braun, Alex Gordon, Matt Kemp.
No one, all of them so far.
No, I mean, yeah. So that may help.
That's going to help Beltrán.
That may help Beltrán, Andrew Jones.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Does it help Chase Utley?
Utley's like he's like a Jeff Kent to me, right? Like he's really good. I just don't know. Like I have to look at him compared to others.
Might help Andy Pettit.
Yeah. I would say
he only had 28% this year, but if there aren't a lot of people being added on who seem like locks.
So I don't know. I mean, baseball has done that before. Nobody gets in, right? Maybe a veterans committee puts a somebody from the past in, but
right.
I guess it could be Beltran's year next year. Is not a lot there to vote for.
He's close.
List you went through. But you look at Beltrán he certainly had a stain on his record. His time in Houston, you don't know how much of that happened before when he was with the Mets. So he was with the Cardinals for 2 years. Came up with the Royals. Spent some time, spent that ass into the season with the Astros before he signed his big first free agent deal. But really, when I think of Carlos Beltrán, guys, I mean, I think of a really good player. But I don't think of him as like the best of the best.
Mm-hmm.
You?
No.
So
not really. No.
So Bill James came up with a Hall of Fame career standards metric.
Oh, good.
And looking at the new guys who are being added next year, with 50 being an average Hall of Famer. You got 1, 2, 3, 4 guys who are 50 or higher. So Cole Hamels, Edwin Encarnacion, Matt Kemp.
What?
And the leader with a 107, Ryan Braun.
Well, he's
not getting in.
He's not getting in, but his career number, A-Rod would eclipse all of that, right? Like his career numbers, right? Like career numbers and everything. Like these guys, God, Hall of Fame talking.
Oh wait, sorry. I'm looking at the Hall of Fame. I'm looking at Bill James Hall of Fame monitor. The rough scale with over 100 likely to make it in. So Ryan Braun is a 107 out of 100. So likely. But as far as the Hall of Fame career standards, none of the guys who are eligible next year meet the standard. Braun is the likeliest with a 39. He's not getting in.
No, I don't think he'll get in for other reasons. He's not going to get in.
No. So of the ones on the list who meet those standards, who are on the ballot already, Bobby Abreu, Manny Ramirez, Alex Rodriguez, Carlos Beltrán.
Well, problem is they're all tied with cheating. Almost everybody you ripped off there, right? Like
Precisely.
that'll be. It might be a pretty dry Hall of Fame next week or next year.
Manny Ramirez, was he part of that?
Oh yeah, well yeah, he was suspended twice.
Yeah, he was suspended twice.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean,
I totally forgot about that.
Now, still, I will say, like, he was suspended twice. He was an idiot, but he's entertaining baseball player in his day.
He's I would say he's a Hall of Fame idiot. Like, you might want to put him in just for going into the wall, going into the monster to get a snack mid-game. That alone should get him his own corner of the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I agree. But it'll be I just wonder who will break through this whole steroid era thing. Will there be a break in the dam at some point where they go?
It would have to be a veterans committee though, because a lot of these guys,
a lot of them have fallen off. Like you have to think at some point in time that dam will break, and some of these guys will get in. I have to think that probably within our lifetime, Pete Rose will be in. He'll get in. We know he's gone, but he'll get in. I believe, and I think the dam will break on some of these other guys too. Look, it's just what they meant to the game when they played. Regardless of what you think about what they did, and what they did was some bad shit. But were they surrounded by a bunch of guys that did equally bad as shit? You just don't know. But they were the baseball cards we all wanted. Those are the stats we were all like drooling all over. I mean, look, Roger Clemens not being in the Hall of Fame, that kind of sucks. If you had told me that when in 1990, I'd have been shocked. Barry Bonds not being in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, I didn't like some of those players, but I mean, geez, at the end of the day, I mean, they were the guys of their time, and they're not in. And I get it, but I think at some point,
I don't think they'll get in on the baseball writers ballot.
No,
I think they'll get in as through veterans. So I honestly, like, of the guys who are still eligible and everything, I think the one who's probably most likely who did get popped would probably be Andy Pettitte. Just because his was relatively minor. He owned up to it. He admitted it. And then ostensibly he stayed clean, and you didn't see the kind of results from him that made you question it. Yeah. Right. Like he was never that pitcher anyway. He was more just the workhorse, the guy who just won. That's all he did in his career. He just won.
Yeah.
So if any of them was going to do it, I think it would be him, but I don't think the writers are going to, I think they're going to.
Well, one, he wasn't an asshole. He wasn't an asshole to writers and media either. And he was a likable guy. I made a mistake.
And ultimately that's the most important thing. We now know that, right? With the writers, they like
you're a dick to him? You're not, and Barry Bonds, that screams him, right? He was never warm to the media.
No. Nope.
Even in post career. But the one I wonder about is maybe the most embarrassing one is Palmeiro. Like, waving his finger in front of Congress. I've never done this. And then the next year, was it the very next year? He got
yeah.
What an idiot, right?
Yeah, I kind of wonder if, like, he seems like one that will never get in.
Yeah.
Because my impression is that he's kind of got a reputation of being a dick. And obviously Ryan Braun's not going to get in, because who's going to put in a guy who tested positive, threw the tester under the bus, and then tested positive again.
In a like despicable way.
Right. Yeah.
So that was bad. It makes me want to talk about football.
How you feeling? We got ourselves a head coach. I know we've talked about it already, but we got ourselves a head coach who conventional wisdom says he was the top one on the market.
Everybody wanted him. We got ourselves a defensive coordinator who has head coaching experience, so he'll be able to provide some wisdom from 2 previous stints.
We have a 28-year-old offensive coordinator, but that really doesn't matter because our head coach is going to be the one designing and calling the plays anyway. Can he coach the offensive line? I guess that's what matters. Richard Hightower survives his third regime and will be the special teams coach for a fourth head coach. So he must be doing something right.
Yep.
Because Ben Johnson could have hired whoever he wanted. I mean, clearly the Bears have opened up the checkbook. So
Antoine Randall L.
That might have been the best news I got in the whole hiring cycle. Forget about Ben Johnson. I've always loved Antoine Randall L. Some of it might just be because of his name. Love saying Antoine.
I love
Randall
the name. The name couldn't have been in any other sport at a professional level. But
no,
as a wide receiver, maybe a defensive end who had like 80 sacks a year. That might be the only other way I remember that name. But he was at the Steelers, right, for a long time. That's where he made cut his teeth.
Started at the University of Indiana.
He had the big catch against the Cardinals, I believe, in the Super Bowl 2008, 2009, one of those years. God damn, how did that synopsis fire? But anyway, I don't know how to remember that. But yeah, no, seeing the highlight clips of him on the sidelines with Detroit, it gets you excited. Like, because you don't see anybody that animated from Chicago.
No.
All you see from our coaches is confused ass looking up at the scoreboard. We can all do it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of actually sending my application to Ben Johnson and asking to be the team's time management coach. That's all I want to do, Ben. I'm just going to sit up in the booth, okay? And all I'll do is pay attention to the clock. And I'll let you know how many plays we can get off. I'll let you know when to call a timeout. That's all I want to do. You can just pay me like $250,000.
That's basically that's one of the criteria that Caleb Williams was looking for.
Right.
Time management for sure.
Yeah, it was. I think,
and obviously we're more aware of it because the Bears have somehow historically mangled this.
Yeah,
but every team seems to struggle. Well, not every team, but most teams seem to struggle with this. Like, it really is surprising that more teams don't have the director of time management. Who that's all he does.
I'm sure one of the assistant coaches is
if
like
you want to just Google
chirping in the ear. So
if you want to Google something funny, just go watch Bears fans' reaction to the Lions game.
Oh, I know.
When they just didn't call, they let the clock run out. If you watch, there are several people that have like recorded reactions, and I'm not the biggest fan of reaction things, but those are pretty damn good. Because I was the same. If I would have had a camera on myself, it was the exact same way, sitting out here in this space, going, "What are you doing?" I mean, we could all say, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And then you get louder and louder and louder and louder.
Yeah, and you're screaming at the TV, "Time out!"
Yeah, I don't know. That's Well, you know what?
I'll tell you what. I think I'm going to make my impassioned pitch to Ben right now. Ben, not only
just do a solo on this.
Not only can I, no, I don't want to do that. No. I don't want to cut you guys out of it because you guys are going to be my assistants. Obviously, I'm going to need some assistant coaches in the booth with me. And yes, we're going to need our own keg during the games.
I can be the emotions coach.
There you go. Yeah, Ron's going to be the emotions coach. Ben, here's what we're going to do. The three of us will be responsible for clock management. We'll also be responsible for challenge management because the two are obviously very tied together. Because if you get a challenge wrong, you lose a timeout.
Mm-hmm.
So you just leave that up to Ron, Elliott, and I. We'll take care of it.
Yeah, I'll do those replays.
Ben,
I'll do it from a very objective point of view.
That's right.
Bullshit! You didn't call that on them.
Ben, don't challenge. Don't Ben. Yeah. Put it away.
Ron's freaking out. Don't challenge. It means don't.
Put it back in the pocket. Put it back in the pocket.
Put it back in your pocket, Ben. Good boy.
All right. Well, there's one thing to look forward to. The other thing I can look forward to is 3 weeks from Saturday. That is the opening day, my new opening day of MLS.
Oh, it's about time it came back. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time. Ron Soccer Minute.
It's going to be interesting. I'm not saying St. Louis City's going to win it all or anything, but my goodness, from what I'm used to, what this team has done, they've got a new coach, Olaf Melberg, and I'm telling you right now, I saw his presser. If that guy was standing at the front door at Halloween, you would make your kids go to the next house and not even go up on the porch. He's dating Scandinavian. He looks like he should have been on one of those Viking movies or one of those series that they had. But he did not want to coach in a big city because he wanted to hone his coaching skills. So I have all the hope in the world that he's got it down. He knows what he's doing. In the meantime, they have went out and got Conrad Wellum from a league over in Europe. According to my neighbor, because I don't know the European leagues as well as he does, he said he's coming from a really good team over there. They also signed another Bundesliga guy in Timo Baumgartel, a center back, which they were weak at last year. And so with the midseason acquisitions they haven't replaced like the big three that they had before. And I'd call the big three Berkey, Leuven, Klaus, but they have replaced like 4 or 5 guys around them. All have extensive experience, and they're veterans from, very European leagues, whether it's leagues in Denmark, Germany, Sweden. So I think they're going to have a pretty interesting squad going in there. So I definitely don't think I'm going to see a repeat of last year. I've been wrong before, but I think they've done the right things. At least this organization's shown a willingness to change direction when they see things that aren't working. So I'm excited, but only about 3 weeks left. They don't broadcast many of the preseason games, so I won't get to catch many. The Coachella games, I think which city will be participating in. I'll get to watch a couple of those, but it'll be February 22nd against Colorado Rapids at home. So I needed something in my life to look forward to, because God knows Disney Star Wars has not provided anything for any of us anytime soon. Certainly baseball hasn't. The Bears have disappointed, but I have hope for next year, and I have hope that I will get to, at least on Saturday nights, a few Wednesdays and a few Sundays during the MLS season, have something to jump up out of my seat and cheer for. So I know it ain't coming from baseball this year. Anyway, that's my soccer minute.
Ron, I was very confused. At some point a couple of weeks ago, and I know I posted it and I can't find it, and I'm trying to take you off solo so that this isn't awkward, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't like just looking up.
Yeah, I know. Well, it'll get there eventually. But here's the question that I had. Wasn't there a point like a couple of weeks ago where like the city signed like a Mexican guy, didn't they?
It's for their City 2 team.
Oh, okay, good.
City 2 team. Yes, they did. They signed.
I thought they were abandoning the strategy of only exclusively signing Germans.
Yeah, they did break mold a little bit there. No, yeah, they did. They signed I can't remember the name. They signed him, but he'll likely play at City 2. But a lot of upside, young. So yeah.
I was worried.
They like their Germans. They like their Germans near the Anheuser-Busch Brewery, evidently.
Apparently so.
Also has German heritage. So,
Ron, you mentioned Disney Star Wars, and I saw this and
make you talk about it.
No, because I'm not going to. Well, I mean, I kind of am going to talk about Disney Star Wars. I don't even know if you're aware of this, but it caught my eye as I was scrolling through X earlier in the week, just kind of catching up on things. Ron, are you aware? I'm sure Elliott is. I can tell by his face he is. He already knows where I'm going, and of course he knows.
Yeah.
Ron, are you aware that apparently there's a graphic novel? I'm going to call it a graphic novel because I guess that's what they're. Guys, we're up to 9 live viewers on Rumble right now.
Oh my God! All right.
Apparently there's a comic book out. Darth Vader went back to Tatooine at some point and killed Watto.
I saw something about this.
I
did not see this. I missed this entirely. Why?
Oh, I was so happy. That's good. That's good. Okay, so I'm gonna have to share my screen just based on Ron's face alone.
No, it's news to me.
Oh God, I gotta get over there. Come on. I gotta share this. This is the best. A new comic series, Legacy of Vader, has revealed that Darth Vader went back to Tatooine once and killed Watto.
Okay.
All right. So I stumbled across it on Barstool.
And I guess that was necessary to close a loop on, every fan was dying to know.
Yeah, everybody wanted to know what happened to Watto. Apparently, it's going to take about a minute for this to switch over to presentation mode so that you can see it.
We can see it.
Oh, can you now? Well, yeah, I know, but it's not. You may be able to see it, but it's not showing in the screen.
Holy
so it's going to take a minute for it to go to presentation. What? Right.
I can see it.
I feel like I'm talking to Edith.
This is terrible. I can't read what the bubbles are, but looks really stupid. This is an official like canon comic that they're doing.
This is a canon comic.
This is fantastic. I had heard someone talking about it, and I just like, okay, whatever. But
I didn't. No, that one escaped me. Okay.
Isn't that awesome?
Let that be our only Star Wars news tonight.
You don't want to talk about all of the stars that they're trying to bring in?
No. I heard the whole Ryan Gosling thing, and
here you go. Crowds have begun placing memorial flower bouquets outside of Watto's home on Tatooine. White House aide, this one's to kill Watto, Mr. President. A lot of people want this one. This is a big one.
That's Stephen Miller behind him.
Yeah. We still have Watto's poetry and his essays. They can kill him, but they will never kill his ideas. Big Nate, I keep picking up the phone to text Watto, then I remember. Telling everybody at the bar Watto died.
Wow, people have jumped all over this.
They're declassifying the Watto files. Watto died? Wow, I didn't realize that. You're telling me now for the first time he led an amazing life. What else can you say? He was an amazing Toydarian. Whether you agree or not, he was an amazing Toydarian who led an amazing life. God. My parents died when a pod racer crashed into the crowd after its gravity stabilizer malfunctioned. It was from Watto's junkyard. Shortly after I started getting anonymous checks, they kept me housed and paid my way through college. Years later, I found out they came from Watto.
Wow.
There you go.
How many people are out of work that jump on that? Like just. Yeah, that's okay. Evidently, Disney thought that was something that was needed. So, somebody somewhere,
very important.
Some unproven creator they're gonna let play in the Star Wars sandbox wanted to close that loop on Watto. So, thank God they did. We're all hanging on the edge of our seats, wondering. We're all pissed that we didn't know what happened to him.
Yeah, I mean, from a storytelling standpoint, it 100% makes sense that that Darth Vader would go back to the scene of some of his greatest pain in his life, being enslaved, his mother being raped and killed by sand people, meeting the woman who eventually broke his heart and ultimately turned him into this half man, half machine. And also end up on the planet with the family that adopted him that he didn't exactly leave on the best terms with, where, by the way, his abandoned son happened to be living.
Right.
And also the man that he had chased around the galaxy obsessively, apparently, also hidden out on that planet. From a storytelling standpoint, that doesn't leave any plot holes wide enough open that you could fly a Star Destroyer through them.
It's not Star Wars unless your story takes you back to Tatooine in some way, shape, or form. And if you're trying to disguise it, you just call it Jakku.
That's right. That's right.
Christ. I'm done.
I think so too. I think I'm done too because my laptop apparently doesn't want to charge, so it's at 26%. Elliott, you got anything to say?
You know what? We got 2 weeks and pitchers and catchers report. Give us a little bit more to talk about. Hopefully, these teams have enough money to make it there.
Well, they're not allowed to make money, so
that's true. Hopefully, they get there on their last dollar.
That's right. That's right. And just clearing the bookmarks. There was one final thing that I bookmarked that I think might have been the biggest lie told in the whole Roki Sasaki saga. I don't know if you guys caught this one, but Bob Nightingale reported on January 22nd at the introductory press conference for young Mr. Sasaki when he joined the Dodgers officially. He says that it didn't matter to him if he joined a team with Japanese players, but he wanted to make sure he would be embraced in the city.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay.
I don't know what's more astonishing, that he and his people would so brazenly put that out there and expect anybody to believe it, or that baseball media would accept it and report it so unquestioningly without pushing back at all.
Only part. Right. That's the only part we have a problem with. Honestly, like you think about it, like a half dozen of my other countrymen have played for this one organization that's closest to my home country and is easier for my family, friends, everybody to watch when they do broadcast games, right? Like, and I know a couple people I've even played with or been close friends with that are there now currently. And I kind of want to go somewhere where I'll have some familiarity. I'll be able to plug in better, quicker. Like, none of us have a problem with that. None of us have a problem with that. But baseball, reporting like teams like Toronto actually had a chance or were in the running, that's the rub, man. That's what irritates all of us. And they try to shovel this shit, which they're going to do. Whatever, don't do that to us. Like, we know, if he was going to go there and that's the only place he was going to go to, I don't think much of it. We wouldn't have much of a problem with that. But when you try to spin it, when you try to tell us that everybody's negotiating in good faith, when we know it's not the case, that's what pisses people off. So don't do that.
That's right.
Pretty simple.
Yeah.
Hopefully that third baseman takes notes and doesn't pull the same bullshit.
Just come out and say, I'm going to go to LA Dodgers. That's my first choice. Okay.
Yeah.
Not surprised. I don't blame you.
And if they can make a deal for me, great. If not, then I'll take a look at some other places.
Right. Yep. If I'm in that kid's shoes, I'm probably feeling the same way. Going to a new country. I've never lived there before, but I have 3 or 4 of my countrymen playing for that. It's probably an easier transition for me. Yeah. Duh. Yeah. Okay. I get it. Anyway, let's end on
That's it.
That's it.
That's all we got left.
Don't even do the outro. I don't care. People know where to find us. Anywhere you can find a podcast, go search for Team of Rivals Podcast. Doesn't matter what player it is. We're probably going to show up there. You can't go to teamofrivalspodcast.com anymore because I shut that shit down like 2 years ago. Because that's
why
I
took it out of the outro.
And you can go to you can find us at fuelsportsnetwork.com. That's the website you can locate us and a bunch of shows that we're not quite sure what's on there because it's Fuel Sports Network. We still don't have a show list. Pete, how am I doing so far?
You're doing great. Keep it up.
Find us on the socials at Team of Rivals Pod. You can't find our video on Facebook tonight, but Pete's going to fix that later. But you can find us on X, YouTube, Rumble. Is that what we're on right now?
Rumble.
7 viewers. 7 is stuck with us. 2 have dropped.
Well, they sensed the end was near. They didn't want to listen to the outro.
I'm trying the outro without notes. That's fine. You can continue. Pick up where I left off.
I don't need to pick up where you left off. You've been doing great. You can go ahead and you know what? Here you go. You
can find Elliott at
TOR_Elliott.
I'm not going to tell you where you can find me. You can just search Ron Nuttall because I don't really go under an alias. It's pretty easy to find me anywhere. If you Google me, though, you're probably going to find a drummer and a professor first. That's not me. I'm right here at Team Rivals Podcast, but you can search that out there on X at Team Rivals Pod. You'll see me tagged to that. If you want to follow me bad enough, go ahead. I would rather drop off the top Cardinals on Twitter's list, so I'd rather not gain any more followers this year. That includes bots. Stream schedule. Oh, somebody on the YouTube chat asked for stream schedule. You know, we do this every Saturday. Used to every Thursday night about 9:00 Eastern time. Why are you putting me on solo, asshole? All right. Anyway, we're Pete, Elliott, and I are working out a new schedule because Saturdays are going to be kind of iffy for me. Pete's in the education system, so there's all kinds of events and everything he has to do on the weekend and sometimes weeknights. So we start getting in the spring, we start getting a little sketchy. So we're searching for a time right now that'll work best for all of us. We're here on a random Tuesday night. We don't do, I think probably the last Tuesday live show we've ever done has been some kind of big signing or trade. That isn't the case this week.
It might have been Mike Matheny getting fired.
It may have been, right? I think that might have been on a Wednesday, but whatever. Yeah, I think you might be right, Pete. So we're going to find a daytime where we could do this consistently or as consistently as we possibly can. So more to come on that. But for right now, we'll be on when we're on.
Just hit that subscribe, hit that bell.
Where did he go?
So you know when we go live.
Oh my God. Did his laptop died before we could kill the broadcast?
Oh, it might have.
Oh, no. Okay, well, as Pete
No,
tries
he's
to
there.
get way back
He's
in,
there.
Pete, you better get us out of here now before your laptop dies, please. Until I see he's back on, but this is great for audio. Maybe it's a little bit long-winded on the exit. He's probably like on 2% battery. You just should have done this.
Nope, there he goes again.
Not again. I know. He's gone again.
We're professionals here.
Pete, cut the live feed. Oh
Are
my
we
God!
done? He joined on his phone.
I told you the laptop was going to go.
I didn't know that. You should have just given me the cut signal. Maybe I wasn't looking. All right, get us out of here. Can you end the stream?
You have the ability to cut?
I only have the ability to leave the stream. I can't shut it off.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, for the 9 people who are here, you guys are getting a really great ending. We love you all. See you soon. Bye.